Welcome to Midlife with Orchid. Let's explore the nuance and the courageous moments of midlife. Let's share stories, reflection, insight, and conversation over coffee, where life's rhythms, revelations, and everyday courage can be witnessed and honored. This is Orchid, your host and storyteller. Let's start this first episode exploring the title of the podcast, Midlife with Orchid. Why Orchid? Orchid is a play on word. It is a nickname I've given myself 5 years ago when I have learned and found out that I am a highly sensitive. The scientific term is sensory processing sensitivity. It is a research done by Dr. Elaine Aron on the trait, the neurological trait. And so I wanted to lead with that. I want that to be at the forefront of my awareness that I am highly sensitive. I experience the world differently than most people. As the research says, 15 to 20% of the population is highly sensitive. So it gave a lot of healing to know why I experienced the world the way that I did, why I grew up the way that I did. But also, it was a compass in how I navigate life moving forward from that revelation. And so now, with the play on word, midlife with Orchid, this is a conversation over coffee with you. This topic, this stage and point of my life. And if you are here and you're listening and you're in this conversation with me, you potentially are also in midlife, or maybe you are curious, or maybe there are people in your life that are in this stage, midlife, and you're just curious. You just want to know. And so Orchid in midlife, or midlife with Orchid, the play on word is that Orchid is a sensitive flower. Orchid reacts to the environment differently. It blooms, it lives, it dies, it thrives in a particular kind of presence and attention to it. The orchid is beautiful. The orchid is unique. It is, I wouldn't use the word fragile, I'll say delicate. And it symbolizes vulnerability. And so in midlife, what I am experiencing and what I am realizing in reflection is similarly to an orchid. This is the stage of my life where I am experiencing tenderness. It's requiring patience from me. It's requiring me to be present, to be attentive to this stage, to this season, to this point of my life. Well, it's a long season. And it is uncommon. It requires grace, gracefulness. It's a refined stage of my life. There is the nuance as the tagline of this podcast, and it requires deliberateness and being thoughtful. And so I thought, hey, it is both midlife in the company with me as your host, as your storyteller, as your virtual companion, but also it is exploring that stage of our lives in midlife as the stage that is, it is unique. It just requires attention and care and deliberateness and all the adjectives that even resonate specifically for you. What does an orchid mean to you as a metaphor in the stage of life? And then as we transition and move forward from that, there's another metaphor that I was just realizing recently about midlife. Midlife can be likened into a coffee. So first, let me ask you, how would you like your coffee? Do you like it cold brew? Do you like it instant, French press, pour over? You name it. There's different ways to make coffee. How would you like your coffee? And for me, I recently transitioned to pour over. I was the instant. I was the instant kind for a long time. I'm in my early 40s now. And just within the last year, I've transitioned to instant. At the time, it is not because I thought it's poetic and it is a metaphor for midlife, the process of midlife. But at the time, my main intention was I just am intentional to make healthy changes in my life, or changes towards longevity and wellness. And I want to experience my 40s and beyond in the best way. I don't want to look at it as I'm declining, as I am aging. I want to age well. And so I'm slowly making choices, better choices, replacing something for another. Intentional, deliberate choice. I do ask you to do your own research of why pour over or why another choice for how you want your coffee. And I would like to share the process of pour over. But once again, do your own research, because I'm still kind of fumbling on this. It is a new process just within the last year, but I am surprised that it has stuck with me. And then later on, as I was making my pour over one morning, I realized, wow, this feels like midlife, the pour over. So the pour over is slower. You have more control of the variables in making and brewing your coffee. It does require patience. It does require being present. For me, I have found it was easy for me to multitask. And at times I would allow myself, and at times I'd be like, no, we're just going to make coffee this morning. We are just going to be present. And so the steps of pour over, 7 steps. It starts, or maybe even 6. It's up to you, but it starts with boiling your water, boiling the water, boiling it hot. And then the second step is place the filter in your pour over cone, or you can use the permanent screen. I personally, based on my research, I use paper filter. It filter the oil. And if health is my priority to lower LDL, that is the way to go. And then you would add the coffee grounds into the filter. And from there, you would bloom. This is one of the distinction that for the pour over, the bloom pace of it. It is pouring a small amount of hot water over the grounds, just enough to wet the coffee, and waiting 30 seconds for the coffee to bloom. And what's happening in the blooming is it's releasing the gas, the trapped carbon dioxide in from the coffee. And from there, you would slowly pour the remaining water in a circular motion. You won't do it all at the same time, but once again, it's taking the time to pour just a little bit of water in circular motion, allowing you taking the control of how you're brewing your coffee. And then you would allow for the brewed coffee to fully drip into the maker, and from there serving it into a cup. Wow, I don't know if that was attractive at all, but like I said, I'm fumbling. But you would serve in a cup, and so now you have this coffee that you controlled the process of how it was brewed. It is fresh every time because you will make just enough that you need or want. And it has all the health benefits. Once again, do the research, but it is one of the healthiest way to drink your coffee. Not all coffee is healthy, especially instant. And I've done that for a long time. So I'm glad that I have now transitioned. And I feel like in midlife, it's like that. It feels like there's so many changes in midlife. You become aware of the time, the changes, you're setting your priorities and what you value. And it's like, how do you want your coffee? How do you want midlife? Do you want it to just be instant, to just be done for you, done quick? Or can you spend a little bit of time just being present into the unfolding of you in this midlife, in this stage, in this point of your life? So I'm excited for all the ways that we can explore this season, this point, this stage of our life, which is right about 40 to 60. But depending on the internal changes of oneself, midlife can start really early for someone. Like for me, I know I started the reflection right around in my late 30s, I believe. And for some, it could be later. So once again, there's no right and wrong here. And I want to hold the space to share stories, reflection, and there's going to be a lot of metaphors probably. I also would like to share all the synchronicities that I am experiencing and observing and witnessing in my life, because that's a big, huge part of my life, that synchronicity of things lining up, the right people, the right connection, the right place and time. But I don't want to override or cover up that this is a vulnerable stage of my life right now. And that's why I am introducing myself in my nickname, Orchid, to have some privacy also, but share openly with you, because I know I'm not the only one that is experiencing midlife in a vulnerable place. But also, I feel that this is a season, this is a time, this is a stage where wisdom shows up, love, patience, resilience. And I am believing that so much more beautiful things can come out of this season of my life, out of this stage, this midlife moment. And I'm so grateful that I can share this space with you. I am imagining all of you who would get to hear my voice and connect with me in this way. And may the reflection that we are co-creating here together, may it bless you abundantly. May it touch your heart. May it bring the healing that you need and the validation that you are all right. You are all right and you are well, just as you are. Peace and abundance to you.